Come on, step it up!
Yo, what is up, my dudes? This is HyperShy23 here, and today this is going to be the first video of a series of videos I'm planning to do called How to Fix, where I'm just going to talk about the flaws of a game or show and how I would change it to make it better. Please note that these are all just my personal opinion. If you think differently from me, that's great. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, so the first thing that went wrong with this game was the story. When Sega teased the game, they made it seem really epic, as if they were going to bring back the edgy Sonic Adventure era stories. Now, I'm not saying that a story needs to be Shadow the Hedgehog level edgy to be good, far from that, but when you set up a game to be in a Warzone setting, you have to have somewhat of a serious tone. What Sega did was maybe the first two scenes of the game were kind of serious, and then once they brought Sonic back, which he wasn't even dead at all, or even for like 10 minutes, the story just becomes your typical modern Sonic story. Sonic's a comedian, and no one else really cares about what's going on or plays a major role. This is a huge missed opportunity for character development. Here are some quick examples of what I would have done to make Sonic get a little discouraged after being defeated, not being able to stop Eggman or Infinite. Make Tails more emotional about losing Sonic. Make Amy, of all people, more emotional about losing Sonic. Make Knuckles doubt himself as a leader, and then have Sonic build up his confidence again. Make Rouge feel something about losing Shadow and Omega. I could keep going on, but I think you get the point already. There wasn't at all any character development when there was tons of room for it, especially in this game. On top of that, the story has tons of plot holes. It confuses time travel and dimensional travel again. Silver is here because why not? Shadow's been missing for 6 months with no explanation, and there seem to be no humans in sight except for Eggman. It makes people question stuff that really shouldn't have to be questioned, but that we need the answers to anyway. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Infinite. When the villains trailer dropped, I jumped out of my seat. Shadow and Chaos were both back, and they were villains again? I needed to know more. What was even more interesting was Infinite. He was a really mysterious character with unexplained powers at the time, but then we learned he was just a huge crybaby. So the problem with Infinite is that Sega set him up to be such a great and powerful villain, when in reality, he's probably the easiest boss in a Sonic game, and the reason he's evil is because Shadow kicked his ass and called him weak. That's it. That's all we get. We don't even get to see his real face in the game, and once you defeat him at the game's finale, he just flies away, and we never see him again. I'm not even joking. You double boost him, insult him, and he fades away and flies like poof, he's gone. There was a comic that somewhat explained who he was, but A, I shouldn't have to read the comic to understand the main villain of a game. If anything, it should be DLC. And B, it still really doesn't explain anything other than he's a mercenary and he's evil and it shows his real face. Like, there was so much wasted potential for Infinite. He could have been the next Mephiles or the next Dark Guy or even the next Chaos, but we get a Crybaby with a rock stuck to its chest. Now, I've seen other people do videos about this topic and about Infinite, so this is not completely my own idea. I'll leave a link to their channels in the description. I think it was Garrulous64 and the Sega Scourge who did videos something like this. What I think Sega should have done was make Infinite the custom hero's friend, who finds the Phantom Ruby, is controlled by it, and becomes Eggman's living weapon. It would have more sense than, well, this.
I'm not weak. I am not weak.
The third thing I want to talk about is just the gameplay in general. Back when we knew very little about Forces, Sega teased the new engine being used to run the game called the Hedgehog Engine 2.0. However, this apparently was only a graphics engine, making Sonic lighter, bluer, and shorter. In addition, the game only had 3 designers, one who worked on Lost World and the other 2 who were new. So, colors and generations, my ass! The gameplay really doesn't shine here. As modern Sonic, you basically run in a straight line for every level, and then switch to 2D. You don't need to slide, there's no drift button, and they gave us double jump instead of the jump dash, which was completely useless. The custom hero really wasn't too fun to play. Honestly, they were kind of tedious stages, and most of them were almost identical to modern. You could have put modern in there, and no one would have known the difference. Classic Sonic was awful here. He somehow plays worse than he did in Generations. The one good thing I'll admit that they did They added the drop dash, which I liked, and they nerfed the spin dash from Generation, which I'm fine with because spin dash Generation was like crazy. It was almost uncontrollable. But he's really slow, and can't make small climbs, and he also goes really fast when jumping, making platforming a lot harder. Shadow was also in this game, but his DLC, and honestly, I don't mind him being too much of an echo of Sonic, but the DLC was free and basically necessary to the story, if you could call it that. So why didn't they just put it into the final game? That, and also, those are the only characters we get. Sure, you can make OCs that look like Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Jet, and Blaze, but still, they would have been nice additions. Here's how I would make them play. I'll be going by Switch controls, but you could probably get the idea. So for Monarch, Sonic, and Shadow, I would make B jump, B and B homing attack / jump dash. A is to roll instead of sliding because I like to see Sonic spinning. X could be like a light dash, and then Y to boost. Bumpers will be quick step, triggers to drift, essentially the same way he played in Generations, but with animation changes. And I'd like to see the trick mechanic again from Generations because I thought it was fun. For Classic Sonic, essentially the same as Mania, but with just better physics. Maybe press Y to spin dash and X to peel out or something, and then just keep the drop dash. Okay, for the custom hero, this is what I would have done. I would have set up classes like in Super Smash Bros. I would have had Fighter, Melee, and Gunner. Fighters would have more fisticuff-like attacks like punches and kicks and stuff. Melees would use weapons like whips and hammers like the Lightning Wisp and the Cube Wisp. Gunners are self-explanatory. And I like the idea of each animal having a different ability, but I'm going to try to make it better. For the Hedgehog, I'm making the fastest runner because this is Sonic. The bird could keep the double jump or some kind of glide maybe. I like the bear having like a shockwave when stomping. The cat doesn't flinch when they get hitting because there's like some saying about cats always landing on their feet or something. The dog, I'm not sure really. Maybe he does a spin when he slides or something. I don't know. He spin kicks. The rabbit could grab extra extra rings with its ears. Sorry, kind of like some kind of ring magnet, like the wolf. And then the wolf, I would give him the bear's original ability, which is like when you homing attack, you just knock back more enemies. For the Wispins, I would have kept the burst flamethrower. I would kept the void blaster Wispon thing. I would have kept hover. I would have added the stone wisp from Lost World. I don't know if anyone remembers it because it's Lost World, so no one really cares. Because that could be like a fist weapon. I would keep the drill, but I would make it more like a punch than like uncontrollable boosting. I would add like a frenzy wisp and make it like a claw thing, so you could like scratch enemies or something like that. I'd keep the lightning whip. I'd keep the cube hammer, and I would actually add the spike wisp and give him like a sword because that would be cool. I think Infinite had a sword in the comics, but nothing came of that in the game. And then other than that, just make the levels a bit more open and expansive and leave room for exploration, and replay value. And then about the characters, I'd also make Knuckles, Tails, and Silver playable characters. Tails would play like he did in the classic games for classic stages. Knuckles would play like an OC, and Silver would play like Sonic or Shadow in the modern stages. Alright, the last thing I want to talk about is the final boss of Sonic Forces. So, the actual final boss is just classic Sonic and the OC in a Colors boss fight. You can already see where that's going.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
End this, Sonic!
So yeah, basically Sega's using the same boss over and over again because I don't know why. Here's what I do and probably what everyone wanted. Super Sonic Finale! We haven't had one of those in years, and now would have been the perfect time for one. I'd have to play something out like this. Sonic Classic and Shadow and the OC defeat what looks to be Eggman's final mech. But then Eggman gets enraged and smashes the machine, making the Phantom Ruby go haywire, and thus Infinite go haywire, transforming them into something much more vicious. For now, let's call it Perfect Infinite. He traps all of them within a null space vortex, and then Classic Sonic and Shadow then use the Chaos Emeralds to go super, while your OC bonds with a Wisp inside your Wispon to unleash their ultimate power. And to keep the design simple, you'll basically just have colored body markings and glowing eyes. Then all four of them go after Perfect Infinite, and you control all four at once. Here's how I'd set the controls. Y makes Supersonic Boost, X makes Super Shadow fire a Chaos Spear, B makes Super Classic Sonic Spin Attack, and then the A makes the OC fire projectile based on whatever weapon they had. If they had a burst, it would be a fire. If they had a cube, it would be something like cube. If it would be a spike, you get where I'm going. And you'd be flying no space, there's no jump button, you're kind of just moving and pressing buttons. To finish off Infinite, you'd have to do the equivalent of Triple Boost through one of his attacks, but since they're Super and Shadows here, let's just call it the Ultra Boost. And then this destroys the Phantom Ruby, leaving Infinite powerless and Eggman defeated once again. Anyway, guys, that concludes my How to Fix Sonic Forces video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to let me know in the comments below how you'd fix Sonic Forces. Stay tuned for videos coming soon, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, my dudes.
I'm gonna change my way.